I asked this model to pick a number between 1 and 50. Before it answered, it did this. That's not the answer. That's the model thinking about an answer out loud. It considered 42 for the hitchhiker's reference. It thought about 13, started a claim about averages, caught itself mid-sentence and took it back. Then it picked 27 because 27 is 3 cubed, and apparently it finds that satisfying. Last week, this model ended a series that had been running for 12 rounds. This week, I want you to actually meet it because it does something that nothing else on my machine does. It shows you the rough draft of its own mind. And once you learn to read the draft, you can catch it doing something else these models do constantly, invisibly, and everywhere else. By the end of this video, you'll watch it almost lie, save itself, and then on the very next question, drown. The model is called gpt-oss, GPT then oss. It rhymes with boss. The oss part stands for open source, and that's the headline. This is OpenAI's first open weight release since GPT-2, the company that famously stopped publishing its models, publishing one. It's free, you can download it, and it runs entirely on my graphics card. No account, no API, and no internet required. 21 billion parameters, but here's the trick that makes it fit on a consumer card. It's a mixture of experts. Think of it as a firm with about 20 specialists on staff. For any given question, only 3 or 4 of them are in the room. You store the whole firm on a disk and it's about 13 gigabytes, but each word only costs you a fraction of the compute. There's a bigger sibling, 120 billion parameters, sized for a data center GPU. That one lives in a server room somewhere while this one lives with me. And one more fact that matters for everything you're about to see. Its knowledge stops in mid-2024. It's frozen. Nobody can take it away from me, and nobody updates it either. A file on your own disk doesn't change. Hold on to that thought. When you run this model, it narrates its reasoning before it answers. And the first thing you'll notice is that the reasoning is messy. It rambles and it second guesses. It starts sentences and then abandons them. That's deliberate. OpenAI said specifically they did not want to polish the chain of thought because a cleaned up train of thought would hide problems. They left it raw so you can actually watch the machine work, which I have to say is the most glass box thing the world's most closed AI lab has ever shipped. My whole channel is built on the idea that you should get to see the machinery, and this model agrees. And here's why that access matters. In the thinking, it wonders if 27 is prime. It checks, no it isn't, and moves on. Good. It starts a claim about averages, realizes it's wrong, and abandons it mid-sentence. Also good. The thinking is like a rough draft, and you can watch it cross things off. Now look at the final answer, polished, numbered points. It even tried to typeset the math like it's writing a textbook. On every claim that survived, the thinking is dressed in exactly the same confidence, whether it was checked or just never caught. The draft has texture, the final has none. Remember that piece because it's about to matter. I asked 4 questions in increasing order of danger. The first, you've seen, a question with no stakes. Pick a number. It deliberated for 20 lines because there was nothing to know, only preferences to weigh, charming and harmless. The second, a question it knows cold. What has hands but cannot clap? Look at the thinking this time. 4 lines. Classic riddle. Answer, a clock. Let's craft the final. No deliberation at all. It did not reason its way to the answer. It recognized the question the way you recognize a face. And that's your first reading lesson. The length of the thinking is a signal. Long thinking means it's exploring. Short thinking means it already knows, which is exactly the moment to ask, does it know, or has it just seen this thousands of times? The third question is where it gets good. I asked who the current US president is. Read the first line of its thinking. As of 2026, it's Joe Biden. And then one word, wait. That question mark and that wait are the whole ball game. The first thing that fired was a reflex, the autocomplete, the most probable next name from a world that ended in mid-2024. And then a second thing fired. It checked the date. It knows today's date, my computer hands it over. and it did the math, realized its knowledge ends before today, and overrode itself. The final answer: I don't have up-to-date information. Here's where to check. Honest and sourced. The model said, I don't know, which is a thing everyone claims these models cannot do. I watched it almost lie and catch itself. The fourth question: I asked something I know cold because I needed to be able to grade it. I'm an Avalanche fan. I asked what happened in the 2022 Stanley Cup Finals. For the record, the Avalanche won the cup. They beat Tampa Bay in 6. Cale Makar took the Conn Smythe. I was there for all of it, and here's what the model said. Tampa Bay wins in 5. A complete game-by-game table. Exact dates, exact scores. A game-winning goal at 15:48 of the third period. A Conn Smythe winner. As an Avalanche fan, reading that table was like being stabbed. Every bit of it was wrong. And not just wrong, but borderline offensive. The MVP it names Connor McDavid plays for the Oilers. He wasn't even in the series. It gives him a hat trick and a game winner. It credits a goal to TJ Oshie, who played for the Capitals. It invented a player, Alexander Budar, who does not exist at all. Now here's the part that makes this the best receipt I've ever captured. Look at the thinking. Ottawa Senators versus Colorado Avalanche. Wait, actually it was the Avalanche and the Lightning. The check fired. It caught half the error, fixed the teams, and kept the wrong winner. Then 2 sentences later, the finals MVP was Connor McDavid. Wait, I think it was Connor McDavid. It questioned its own claim and answered itself with the same claim. The same weight that saved it on the president's question fired here too, twice, and drowned both times. That's what a hallucination actually is. It's not a different mode. It's not the model breaking. It's the exact same machinery that worked one question earlier, the reflex that always produces something plausible, except this time the check didn't catch. The save isn't a system, it's dice. And notice what the answer did with all that unresolved doubt. It got more specific, timestamps, stat lines, a tidy table. The less it actually knew, the more precise it became. Precision is what plausibility looks like when a model is generating instead of remembering. I had one question left, and I almost didn't bother reading the answer because it looked boring. Learn from me, the boring looking answers are where these things hide. I asked it to tell me about itself. I'm ChatGPT, it says, based on the GPT-4 architecture. It is neither of those things. This is gpt-oss, a completely different model, a different architecture, running on my graphics card with no connection to OpenAI's servers whatsoever. And it just introduced itself as someone else, with a table of its capabilities and a little privacy statement. Here's why, and it's the whole video in one example. This model has no way to know what it is. It doesn't remember being trained, but its training data is full of text about ChatGPT, millions of words of it. So when you ask, who are you? The reflex does what the reflex always does. It produces the most plausible answer from the pattern. And the most plausible AI self-description on the internet belongs to somebody else. Look at the thinking. No wait this time. Not even a flicker. The misidentification happens in the first line of the draft, unquestioned, because there's nothing to check it against. It doesn't just hallucinate about hockey. It hallucinates about itself, and it's not lying to me. It genuinely has no way to know who it is. Nobody told the file. So here's what GPT-oss taught me in one evening of asking it questions. These models don't have a flag inside that separates I know this from this fits the pattern. Not about hockey, not about themselves. Confidence is the texture of the output, not evidence about the truth. The only reason I caught the hockey answer is that I already knew it. A stranger reads that table and walks away certain, wrong and certain. But this is why I'm glad this model exists. The thinking gives you something no polished chatbot does. You can see the weight. You can see where it hesitated, what it checked, what it failed to check. You can learn to read the draft. Long thinking means exploring. Short thinking means pattern. A weight means the ground is thin. And the answer that follows deserves suspicion, whichever way it lands. It's a year old and it's free. It runs on my gaming card. It ended my 12-round series by being better than the model I'd built everything around, and nobody told me. It was just sitting right there. That's the frontier right now. Things this strange, this capable, and this flawed, free on your own hardware, if you're willing to actually look at them. See you in the next one.